Welcome to Inside Sim Racing, episode 29. I'm your host, Jessica Lopez. It's Friday, October 17th, and this is the time slot you, our viewers, have chosen with over 200 votes. And we'll also be, or we are in the chat room with you guys live as the show airs to talk about the show or anything sim racing related. So those of you who are in the chat room right now, what's up, and thank you for joining us. And thank you for everyone who voted and participated. Make sure to tune in every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also make sure to chat with us on your Chat Masters 2000s. Today's top story comes from the Virtual World Touring Car Championships, where they had their grand finale on Saturday, October 4th. Taking place in Monza, Italy, the title was claimed and a brand new Chevy HHR was given out. Crowds of people gathered around Race Room Game Park to witness the finale after an intense season of VWTCC competition. During qualifications, the BMWs, as usual, dominated, and Bastien Barch from France ran a blistering 156.9 to take the pole. During race 1, French driver Bastien Barch and Swedish driver Roland Einstrom switched positions multiple times and even ended up at the finish line at the same time, with only 0.04 of a second separating them, with Enstrom pulling out the victory. Marco Shade took his Honda to the only remaining podium spot, which ended up being one of very few Honda successes of the season. Chevy took the 4th and 5th position with Daniel Struck and Michael Storm. In race 2, there was some major controversy. Marco Shade won the event but was later disqualified by race officials for taking out Einstrom. The win was claimed by Marcus Kononen. With this win, he climbed straight up to the overall podium right behind Barch and Einstrom, who finished 2nd and 3rd after the judges' decision. Barch and Einstrom tied for 1st with equal amount of points, so their race time would decide who would win the Chevrolet HHR and the World Championship title. It was race 1 that proved the fastest, with an incredible 18 minutes and 12 seconds, which was actually faster than the WTCC race. In the end, Einstrom beat Barch by the same 0.04 of a second to take home the World Championship title, as well as the HHR. Congratulations to Roland. I imagine that Mr. Barch is pretty disappointed to lose so close like that. And great job to Simbin and the whole crew over at VWTCC for putting on a heck of a competition. We hope that developers take note and run similar races or competitions here in the States. All right, so speaking of which, iRacing has announced all sorts of new things this week, and I'm bringing Shaun onto the set to talk iRacing with me. Hey, Shaun.
Hey, Jessica. Hey, everybody.
So, iRacing, what's up with that? What's up with the iRacing world?
Well, iRacing world, they've got a thing where the members, they can go on, they can make a profile, have friends, have groups, and all that kind of stuff.
So it's sort of like a MySpace or a Facebook.
Just like a MySpace or a Facebook. You can actually add videos, you can have pictures, have a blog, you can send your family to come check it out.
So it is like MySpace. And what's up with the iRacing World Cup?
The iRacing World Cup is actually something I'm really excited about. It's they basically made an announcement, and it was they made it so that all the members can still have an opinion in it, but it's adding a lot more structure to iRacing. You'll be able to do regional events that will feed into national events and into international events, sort of like an SCCCA.
Sounds pretty sophisticated for sim racing. And when do these competitions begin?
This will all begin February of '09.
And iRacing have any other things going on, or is that it?
Well, they just keep cranking stuff out. We had told you about the Chevy Silverado a while back. Now, in addition to that, they're going to have pit stops and caution flags as a result of the survey they had done, listening to what people had to, thought the sim needed.
Glad somebody's listening. And speaking of listening, Opinionation, new radio show out on Mondays. Did you hear that?
That was wild. I heard it. Did you get a chance?
I didn't, but I heard about it.
It was crazy. These guys, they're controversial. They're going to ruffle feathers all over the place. John Prather, Frosty St. Clair, and this first episode was definitely iRacing leaning, but I think they're going to cover a lot more topics in the future.
All right, so anyone interested in listening to a controversial radio show, head on over to PSR TV. It'll be aired on Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
I got something for you. This is a special honor from our friends of the European Team Challenge, and like I said, the honor, you're picking the names. This will be the teams all picked a team. Each team picked a track, and this is going to seat the tracks. Got all the teams and names right here. And this is going to seat the schedule for this year. So when you pick a name, the first name you pick is actually going to be the last track or the most the prestigious of the season. And
let's get started. Okay, so first we got Blue Flag Racing from Spa-Francorchamps 2004.
There you go, Spa.
Then we got the Black Rebels at Kyalami, Darren's favorite.
Oh, we're going to have to get Darren in on that one. Darren's the Kyalami master.
I think this is An-E or A-N-E Racing from Curitiba 07.
Curitiba 07. All right, good times. Next.
Precision Motorsports from Hockenheim.
There you go. We'll stop in Germany there.
How many we got left?
2 after this one.
Okay, Degen Sim Racing Team from Donington Park.
Donington Park, England.
Okay.
7th track, or actually this will be the 2nd race of the season.
Team GG from Magny Coors.
Right on. And a big drum roll, because this will be the first race of the season.
First race of the season goes to the Roaring Pipes Maniacs.
Oh, I know those guys. Right on. And it's Nürburgring GP.
Back to Germany again.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, I will be back here with Darren talking about the patch for Gran Turismo. Welcome back to episode 29 of Inside Sim Racing. I'm here with Darren, and we're checking out the new patch for GT5. What type of cars do we got in this new patch? I know there's 3 new cars, right?
Yep. We have the GT by Citroën that was built in conjunction with Polyphony, just debuted at the Paris Auto Show this year. And looks like I might be a few credits short of
Yeah, it's 1 million credits, and you got 144,000.
Yep.
What other kind of cars can you get?
Well, there's the Ferrari California, which is also a little bit too much for my bank account. But also, they have the Lotus Evora. I'm going to bring this puppy up. I think I can buy this. I think that's 100 grand. Let's see. There's the Elise, Lotus Evora. Yep, 100 grand. Let's purchase it. What color you want me to buy?
Let's go for...
Matter of fact, you're going to drive it.
I like the orange.
You like the orange?
Yeah.
It's going to be your car. You're going to drive it.
All right.
Chrome orange or burnt orange?
Burnt orange.
Okay. Yep, we'll buy this car. All right. Ready to take it for a little spin?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's get this thing set up.
All right, Darren, so what else they got new with this patch?
Well, the difficulty of the race events have been adjusted, along with an increase in prize money in some of the events. Some time trial penalty adjustments, some bug fixes, and physics enhancements.
And what's up with the GT TV? What's that all about?
Actually, well, they got some new videos. As soon as you finish driving, I'll show them to you. Whoa!
I'm done.
Well, I downloaded a video about the Citroën. Since we can't drive it, I thought I'd at least check it out.
How much was this video?
This is actually a freebie. Actually, I don't really think that there's anything worth paying for on here right now. You know, what do you think about our show going on?
That would be nice.
GT
Maybe
TV?
one day, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, while we're checking this out, let's head on over to our LFS reporter, Michael Passingham.
All right, cool. Yeah, he has a report from Sam Hopkinson about the V1 Championship. So let's roll that.
Check it out.
Last December, the LFS community received a brand new car. It was the Formula BMW. It wasn't just to play around with, this was for a real event, the V1 Championship, where virtual racers could become the next Lewis Hamilton. I've caught up with some of the organisers to see how it's all going. Okay, hi Sam. My first question is, to those of us who don't know what the V1 Championship is, what is it?
Ooh, it's an opportunity for anybody who is interested and anybody that has a desire to be a real life racing driver to basically test without money. And that's the point of V1, is actually to find drivers that don't necessarily have money. Money is not a prerequisite with V1, which is actually the thing that differentiates V1 from basically the rest of motorsports.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because you only have to use the demo version of Live for Speed to get into the V1 Championship.
That's absolutely right, yeah. When V1 came to LFS, the idea was to find a way to introduce drivers to motorsports without any cost whatsoever to themselves, which is actually, in point of fact, why the Formula BMW came to LFS as a demo car.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, you're part of UKCT, who help run the CompuTeam Race Authority, one of the most famous systems in Live for Speed. What exactly does UKCT do for the V1 Championship?
Originally, V1 came to LFS with the intention of just taking hot laps from LFS and basically filtering out the slow guys, rising the fast guys to the top, the ones that submitted a really fast hot lap, and then going from there into psychometrics and real-world testing. But it was decided, or Jay concluded, Jay's the head honcho at V1, it's his brainchild, he decided that wasn't enough information. Just a hot lap, a single lap around a track isn't enough for him to understand who the person is as a driver in LFS and what their approach to driving in LFS is. So CTRA, or UKCT actually, CTRA is part of UKCT. UKCT was approached and asked if we could provide a server suite similar to CTRA, but for V1, and actually looking for different information. There's a lot more of a focus on specific hot laps. With V1, the specific intention is to find people in LFS and find characteristic aspects of people, such as consistency, progression, determination, speed, overall speed, participation, and many other things. And what CTRA does for V1 is to collect that information, basically silently in the background, through practice races.
Yeah, I guess through some practice races you can get a reasonably good idea of how good the drivers are. But it's not all the way there, it's just the first step on the way to getting a full profile of the drivers.
Yeah, the important thing to understand about the LFS aspect of V1 is it's only a starting point. We've built an entire championship, and we've taken several months over it. After LFS, we go to psychometric testing, which is another very, very important aspect of V1, where we actually find out more about the individual as a person on a personality level, how interested they are in the sport, whether or not they fit the profile of a racing driver. And then from there, we go into real-world testing, where we actually take the driver out of LFS, through psychometrics, stick them in a car or a cart, and send them around a track.
Yeah, well, you've already done a track day so far, and how did that compare to what you expected from these drivers? Because I imagine it's quite a big leap from coming from your chair into a real racing car and dealing with the real G-forces and all the forces going on around the car. I mean, yeah, how did it compare to what you expected?
We took 3 drivers down to Rockingham, 3 of our best drivers in the V1 Championship so far. We took them to Rockingham for track day, basically, and we used the information that we gathered there to apply back to psychometrics and also compare with the online racing. One thing that we did note is that, and this is important, with the racing drivers that we took with us to Rockingham, there was a very clear and distinct lack of fear in these drivers that did correspond very, very directly with their behaviour in LFS. So we actually were able to more or less discount the fear factor as a major deciding factor in our psychometrics and in our real world application. But that was exactly the opposite of what we were expecting. We thought, take them out of LFS and all of these armchair racers are just going to be absolutely terrified when they get in a car, and it didn't work that way.
Yeah, that's very interesting actually, because I guess if you're a sim racer, you drive around in your room and well, if you hit a wall at, say, 100 miles an hour, you won't be injured, and it gives you this kind of fearless attitude. Okay, I'll make the move, and if it doesn't work, there'll be another race in a few minutes. But in real life, you've got to kind of level that. You don't want to take that attitude into real racing, I guess. Very interesting. I've been looking around the V1 website and I've seen a lot of very familiar Live for Speed names. Have there been many other non-Live for Speed players who have come into V1 just for V1 and not because they've been in Live for Speed? And if not, don't you think that's a bit unfair?
Looking at the statistics that we've gathered, there is definitely a better performance generally overall from regular LFS drivers than people who are entirely new to LFS. There is definitely an advantage to being familiar with LFS. That said, however, the LFS aspect of V1 is actually only a small part, even though it takes a long time. It is actually not a huge part. As well as their times, we also looked at their willingness to participate, their enthusiasm, their crash, get up, dust down, get on. You don't actually need to have a lot of LFS experience.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit better than I thought it was. Okay, you're a few months into the V1 program. Are there any drivers you could tell us about who particularly impressed you and who we can make bets on in the future for winning a World F1 Championship?
I would love to give you some names, but I can't. In fairness to everybody really that's taken part, everybody's put a lot of effort in. But there are some notable people.
Okay, well, say I wanted to join the V1 Championship. Am I out of time, or is there some time left? And if so, how much time?
No, there's loads of time. We're essentially following the Formula 1 Grand Prix season, so we've still got 4 races to go. You can make an impression in V1 in the space of a day with no problem. If you can put in, I would say, if you can put in 200 laps in LFS in a V1 server, if they're consistent and if you don't spend a lot of time crashing, and if you can demonstrate some measure of skill, you could do that easily in a day. So there is loads of time for anybody and everybody to get into V1 and give it a try. And it's our challenge to you. If you want to make an impression, if you want a career in motorsports, get your butts in the V1 servers and give it your all, see what you got, and if you're good, we'll find you. Okay,
great. Well, that just about sums it up. If you want more information, go to v1championship.com. Thank you, Sam Hopkinson, for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, Mike. I'll talk to you again soon.
Alright guys, we got some more tickety tech tips from Shaun, this time for rFactor file management.
With the amount of mods for rFactor that come out, we end up constantly talking about them. This is great, but mods can be a confusing topic to many people. rFactor can be a difficult sim to deal with at times, so here's a little help for you all. Let's start off with rFactor's file directory. The standard install location is Program Files /rFactor. If you open this folder, you will see many other folders and files. The main ones that you will need to deal with are game data, RFM, user data, and maybe plugins. When reading the README files that come with many mods, it will reference these folders. The game data folder has more folders within it that contain game items like tracks or vehicles. The RFM folder contains files that accompany the car mods that you load. The user data is where you will find information about you and the way the sim has been set up for you. Most importantly is your player file. This is where you will find the folder for car setups. Any track that you have installed will have a folder here. Play setups for any cars in these folders under the track that the setup was designed for. The last folder is the plugins folder. If you are installing Real Feel or any other plugin type mod, you will put certain files in this folder. I have downloaded and am getting ready to install a new track. In this case I have Norris Ring. The file came as a RAR file. When you double click it, it should open right up. If not, do a search for WinRAR files and get the appropriate program like WinRAR. When looking at this particular track file, it has an rFactor folder in it. I will then take this folder and drop it into my program files directory. This will then prompt me to overwrite files, hit yes to all, and that then is a sign that things are going well. When finished, you go to the game data folder, then go to the locations folder, and you should now see a Norris Ring folder in there as well. The other common scenario is a track that when the RAR or zip file is open will have just a track folder in it. This time you drag that folder into your locations folder within game data. Pretty simple. Now let's do a car or vehicle. This works just like a track, but also involves some other folders. I've downloaded the RMI Mustang. When I double-click this file, it opens with 4 files inside, 2 folders and 2 README files. README, by the way, means README. Amazing how many answers, including how to install, are usually included in these files. Anyways, in this case, we need to move 2 folders into the rFactor folder to overwrite them in rFactor's directory. So I will select both the RFM folder and the game data folder and drag them into the rFactor folder. And lastly comes with well-finished mods, ones that come with their own installers. For example, EOAAGT. This mod came with an executable file that, after checking to make sure I owned GTR2, went ahead and installed with nothing more than me telling it the root directory of my rFactor. In my case, that's C:\program files \rFactor. Then it took over and did the rest. I hope this helps you in the future with rFactor file management.
Thanks, Shaun, for all the tech tips. I know our viewers out there really enjoy that. They find it very informative, especially at rFactor. I know it can get quite confusing with all those files, so I've heard. Speaking of rFactor, we got the Mod Squad this week. We're going to catch you up to date on all the latest mods that have been coming out in the last week or so. We got some new tracks for you Dukes of Hazzards fans. We got a new track. It's the Roscoe Road 1.0 by DBR Uncle Jesse. Travel from downtown Hazard County all the way up to Boar's Nest. Jumps are optional. Yeehaw! And then we take you to Nürburgring 1.0 by Hottenthal 1990. It's scratch built and located in Nuremberg, Germany. Then we got the Shanghai 0.5 located in China, created by Team China. This is a work in progress. More texture work to be done in the nearby future. Adelaide International Raceway located in Virginia, South Australia, based on track condition around 2002 to 2004. Track author is RT1971. Alright, now onto some cars. First up, we got a BMW M3 built by Team Real Classics Limited. Comes with semi-slicks and a carbon fiber roof. Now we have a port from GTR2 to rFactor. Requires that you have a copy of GTR2 and there's no pirating, guys. It's the EOAA GT 1.02 and the following cars are included. Aston Martin DBR9, Chevrolet Corvette C5R, Chrysler Viper GTSR, Ferrari 550 Maranello, Ferrari 575 GTC, Lamborghini Murcielago RGT, Listerstorm, Maserati MC12, and the Saleen S7R. They've just released an update to their original launch in September. Go to rFactor Central to find more about that. And next up, we got a new plugin called G-Balls 0.10 by Ermin. This will show you the G-forces that are being applied by the sim. That's going to do it for all the new stuff going on in rFactor world. If you want your mod included in the Mod Squad Rapid Fire, make sure to email me at jessica@insidesimracing.tv. On to some other Mod Squad news. Darren's going to come in the studio and join me, tell us about WSGT.
Yes, I sure am. WSGT, mod for GTR2 out by the Racers modding team.
What does WSGT stand for?
It stands for World Super Grand Touring Cars, and again, it's out for GTR2, and looks, actually, it is really cool.
What kind of cars are going to be running in this class?
There's actually a bunch. Why don't just go ahead and roll this footage, I'll show you.
Sounds like a master plan.
The WSGT, or World Super Grand Touring Cars by the Racers modding team, is a scratch-built mod for GTR2 that has been in production for quite some time. It includes 6 different car models that span multiple classes, including GT1P, GT1, GT3, and Cup. First, let's start with a car that many are familiar with, the Aston Martin DBR9 and DBR S9. The DBR9 is the more stout of the two Astons. Both cars run a 5.9-liter front-mounted V12. The DBR9 runs in the GT1 class against cars like the Corvette C6R and Saleen, and puts out about 625 horsepower with 732 foot-pounds of torque. Its GT3 counterpart is a little heavier, 200 kilograms to be exact, and only puts out 550 horsepower, this being the DBR S9. Next up, the Ferraris. Both are mid-engine masterpieces. Starting with the F50 GT, it runs in the GT1P class. This car is putting out 720 horsepower and only weighs 907 kilograms. The FXX has 790 horsepower and is considered a Cup class car. This car is definitely the hardest to drive of all of the WSGT variations. I believe Cup is considered a street type car. The way it handles and brakes, it seems that way. Next up, some competition for the Aston Martin DBR S9, the Maserati Trofeo Light. It comes in at 1,150 kilograms, which is 150 less than the DB, but it only has 430 horsepower. This is also a front engine car. The Mclaren F1 Gtr has a few different offerings, one in GT1P and one in GT1. But it also has variations from 97 through 2008 in both classes. The GT1 car doesn't have horsepower ratings, but it's in the DBR9 class as far as power and handling goes. The GT1P has a BMW powered V12 putting out 611 horsepower. Finally, the Ultima GTR, another GT3 class car with a 410 horsepower 3.2 liter inline 6, which is also BMW powered. I really can't say enough about this mod. The car models are gorgeous, the sounds are exhilarating, the physics are on par with the best sims out there, and the fun factor is through the roof. And speaking of the car models, the interiors are just amazing. All of the cars will definitely add a lot to an already great sim. I would say that this mod is on par with the best mods ever built for rFactor, GTR2, NASCAR 2003, or any other sim ever made. Hats off to the Racers modding team. I can't wait to drive some of their future projects. To get a hold of this mod, head on over to the Belgian Sim Racers at www.bsim-racing.com, which by the way is a great sim racing portal. The official site for WSGT is there as well. You can also check out the other work in progresses they have going. So if you haven't downloaded this one already, time to go check it out.
That looks pretty intense, Darren.
Oh, it definitely is. And as a matter of fact, I got a version coming out for rFactor pretty soon.
And when that does, we'll let you know, hear about it on Inside Sim Racing. We got a lucky contest winner from episode 27. We didn't forget about you.
Yep.
We asked Michael Passingham's favorite movie, and the answer was Tic Tac.
Yeah, and the lucky winner is going to win a copy of GTR Evolution. Compliments to Simbin.
Winner is Robert Moyer Jr. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Robert. Going to get your copy out via Steam code here as soon as possible. Again, compliments to Simbin. Thanks, Simbin, guys. And
that's going to do it for episode 29. We got the big 3-0 next.
God, I can't believe it.
I know, time flies, right?
Yeah, 30 episodes. That's amazing.
Make sure you guys join us. It'll be aired October 24th, Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be hanging out in the chat room.
Yeah, and we're going to have another contest. We're going to be giving away a copy of GTR Evo, Arca Sim Racing, and STCC the game in the chat room. You got to be there in the chat room to win. Going to watch the show here live on the 24th, like Jessica mentioned, and got to enter your answer there really quickly in that chat room.
So make sure to join us. Be on your Chatmaster 2000. We'll see you next time. I'm Jessica Lopez for Sean Cole and Darren Gadgey. The checkered flag's out, and so are we.